and today I'm sharing another low-carb recipe for the family. This low-carb meal idea for the family feels really fancy, like something you'd get at a restaurant, but only requires a handful of ingredients and is a really easy and healthy meal idea for your family for any day of the week. All right, let's get into it. First off, I'm making my cauliflower mash side dish. These 12-ounce Trader Joe's cauliflower florets can be steamed in the microwave straight from the bag, so in they go for 4 minutes. Otherwise, you can steam them in a pot, but that's a lot more effort. So while that's going, I'm taking out my Boars Cheese, and if you haven't tried this cheese before, it is so good. And I'm just going to cut it up into small pieces with my knife. Once the cauliflower is soft, I'm going to throw them straight into my blender. And oh my god, this always happens with my impatient personality. It was so hot and I burned my hand like 3 times. I'd advise you to let them cool a bit before working with them. I'm also going to throw in half of my Boars Cheese chunks in as well. Then just pulse it until it's nice and smooth. Yum! And just like that, it tastes so good. It really gives mashed potatoes a run for its money. If you want to fancy it up a bit, you can add some butter and or some roasted garlic, chives, whatever your taste buds prefer. But I'm keeping it super simple today. Now for my entree, I'm making pan-seared wild-caught sea scallops from ButcherBox. I heated up some avocado oil in a cast iron skillet and threw my defrosted and drained sea scallops on. The night before, I tried my best to remove as much moisture as possible with paper towels. Now, full disclosure, I had defrosted 2 whole pounds of scallops because our friends were coming over for dinner, but unfortunately plans fell through. But since I had defrosted them all, I had to cook them all, and I wasn't about to sit there and pan-sear them in batches, so I threw them in all at once, crowding my pan, and they ended up just steaming instead of pan-searing, which means no delicious brown crust. All that to say, don't crowd your pan like I did. Again, I blame my impatient personality. Then on top, I just sprinkled some salt and pepper. Now, while those were cooking, I fried up some pancetta in another skillet. This is also from Trader Joe's and it is so good. This fried pancetta will be the topping that goes on top of my scallops. Now, after flipping my scallops over after about 3 minutes, I added some garlic and butter for more flavor. I didn't add this in the beginning because I knew for sure the garlic would burn, and I definitely didn't want that. Now, make sure to keep your eye on the scallops so you don't overcook them because they will turn rubbery very quickly. 3 to 4 minutes on each side should do. I gave my pancetta one last quick stir, and now let's plate everything. I am awful at making things look pretty, so let's see how this goes. First, I'm putting down my cauliflower mash. Fancy restaurants kind of swirl the mashed potatoes on the plate like this, right? On top of that go my scallops, and I tried to pick the prettiest and brownest ones. Brownest? Is that a word? Then on top of that, I'm just scattering some pancetta, and of course, seafood always calls for lemon, so I'm just squeezing a bit on top. Then I'm rounding it all out with a bit of fresh ground pepper. Now there's the finished product. Now don't be deceived by the portion size. It was indeed tiny, and my husband and I both went back for seconds, and in his case, thirds. Now as a bonus, let me quickly show you a creamy broccoli vegetable soup that I made in bulk to serve to my family as an appetizer alongside really any meal. It's so easy and requires minimal babysitting on your end. First, I'm just going to heat up a carton of chicken broth in a heavy bottom pan. And while that's going, I'm going to raid my fridge for any and all vegetables that I need to use. Today I had some green onions that were on the verge of turning, and a leek, both of which I washed and am now going to chop up. And of course, some garlic. I add garlic to everything. I'm going to throw it all into my warmed up chicken broth along with 2 12-ounce packs of fresh broccoli. Now, I don't know if you guys have a Sizzler in your area, but in elementary school, Sizzler is where I discovered my love of broccoli cheddar soup. I haven't been to a Sizzler in probably over like 2 decades, but I remember being obsessed with the broccoli cheddar soup that they had available at their salad bar. It was so good. Anyway, next I put my top on and just let all of that cook for about 15 minutes, periodically coming back to give it a stir. I dug up some frozen spinach from the freezer, so I threw that in there at the end too. If you guys follow my other videos and you know that part of my love of cooking involves just randomly throwing this and that into my recipes. Kale would have been a really nice addition too, but I didn't have any today. Now once everything is soft, I'm just using my immersion blender to puree my soup. I like my soup a bit chunky, so I'm going to leave some chunks. Then I'm throwing in about 3 to 4 ounces of heavy cream that I had left over from another batch of soup that I made last week, along with some cheddar cheese. You can really add as much or as little cheese as you want based on your taste preference. Sometimes I'm in a really cheesy mood and sometimes I'm not. And that's it! You have a delicious and hearty soup that's full of vegetables that are great for your health, that can act as an appetizer or even as your main meal. And there you have it, another healthy low-carb recipe for your family to enjoy. I have more recipe videos on my channel, so if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And leave down in the comments below low-carb recipes you like to feed your family so that I can get some new ideas. Alright, thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye!